So today we are covering Plan Your Future. So as we do every day, let's hear about progress with the success system from yesterday. So if your birthday falls between January and March, I would like you to start and share something. Just remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress.
So here's the list of people who we have on.
Is anybody birthday between January and March? Okay, let's do April through June.
Could you repeat the question for me? I had to step out for my kids for a second.
Oh, sure. So we want to hear about the progress with the success system.
Oh,
We did a little bit of checking in this earlier today. I'm sorry, Patricia.
No, you're fine.
So
Are we moving past this?
let's move past.
Okay, we're moving past this. Hey, we're good. Where should I start then?
So we've covered this with Lance already.
Okay,
Now, we are here, guys, and we just got done with, get to the close, and now we're going into plan the future. We went from lead generation, lead follow-up to transaction, and we can just continue here. Go ahead.
okay, but I don't know what that's. Okay,
So here's just an overview of today's agenda,
okay, go to the next one.
and then you have control of the clicker whenever you're ready.
Right. So I think this is me. Okay, do this. Okay. So, let's begin by setting our sights on a big future for ourselves. That's what we're all aiming for, correct?
Mhm.
So there's a line in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent: to have a better chance of hitting the target, aim high. Aiming high begins with thinking big, and that's what today's session is mostly about. This, I can't see can I see the participants so I can call names?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Kelly, can you please read the quote on the board, on the
Oh,
slide?
sure. It says, how you think matters. How you think in the beginning really matters.
Perfect. So Cameron, what are your thoughts on the quote? What stands out to you?
Well, how you think in the beginning sets context for how everything else is going to go.
Absolutely. And it can really frame your future, and it can form how you purpose each day and what you do with each day. Is it Arian? Arian, tell me what you think about that?
Well, I agree fully because I've had my license for a while, and the way I think now after this class, after Ignite, is completely different than the way I was trained to think in the past. So that's
amazing.
positive. That's positive.
That's awesome. Toby?
When I read this, it makes me think about, how you start your mornings is really how the rest of your day will be planned out, or how you will attack the rest of the day. And that's how I'm kind of taking it myself.
That's awesome. All right, and Kelly?
Oh, here I come.
She there? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. So throughout Ignite, we've talked about the importance of mindset, because mindset matters. Not just today, not just during Ignite, it matters every day. Sometimes your mindset turns to doubt, disappointment, fear, and these are the times to be aware of and quickly correct it. It's within your control. You control your mindset, it does not control you. Now let's examine where you are now compared to where you were at the beginning of Ignite. So take a moment to tune in internally. So where is your mindset today? Do you feel aligned with your heart? Are you ready to do the actions needed to have a successful business. So what are some of the ways you've already adjusted your thinking? So I want you guys to take a moment right now to write this down in your participant guide. You guys get those written down?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you guys ready to move forward? Okay.
I'm ready.
So I'm gonna start with Toby. Toby, what did you write down?
So honestly, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? You kind of broke out.
Sorry. So what did you write down?
Oh, so definitely just the mentality, like the headspace of like, from just this class in itself, from what I've learned, definitely I want to say is just instead of like being so professional, like you got to come from a sense of being personable more than being professional to really get people in. How it's about the quality of the question, asking how good of a question at the right time.
Awesome. That is so true what you said. I love understanding the quality and how you are as a person and how important that is in relationships. Arian, what did you write down?
Okay, so I wrote down that I'm going to make an intentional plan of starting my day off with like a motivational training, which I really love this Jim Rohn that I've been listening to. And that's, I mean, again, I just wanted to, we got taught that the other day about, he was one of the names. And I mean, seriously, you feel like you can do anything after you listen to this person. So I want to do that every day. And my faith is very important to me. So that's going right alongside with that. And taking my steps daily, whether I feel like it or not. This is huge for me because a lot of times, truthfully, I don't feel like doing anything. I homeschool my kids. I have a very, very busy life. Yeah, like we all do. But anyway, being intentional about, I wrote down, do my lead gen every day, even if, and don't beat myself up if I don't get it all done, at least do something.
Yes, that's awesome. Some action is better than no action at all, right? Imperfect action is better than perfection. So all of that is very important, and being intentional is phenomenal. It will lead to success too. Cameron, what did you write down?
Actually, went down a similar route with being intentional for gym leads. That was a big one for me. But also just keeping that open mind every morning that every day is not going to look the same.
No, it doesn't look the same, does it? And sometimes things come up, or sometimes, like she was mentioning, homeschooling kids, sometimes things come up, and to be flexible, but to not to lose sight of the goal. It's really important. Kelly, I didn't do Kelly yet, did I?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
My mindset has changed in that when I came into this, I was like, oh, I have to be a certain way, I have to do a certain thing. And I'm realizing I'll succeed more if I'm just totally myself, like do the steps that need done, but do it as yourself and not as something you thought it needed to be.
That's brilliant. I think that being authentic and being ourselves will get us way further, in my experience in this business and industry, than probably a lot of things will. People love authenticity, and that's really great. So moving forward, remember that the Keller Williams belief system, along with the 6 personal perspectives, helps to keep your mindset strong and positive, because it is important to stay strong and positive. And what was mentioned about, sometimes we don't feel like doing things. There are a lot of things about our business that sometimes aren't fun, but they're necessary. And there's a lot of things that become fun after we learn to love them and we do them enough, right? It just can really depend. You can make a mindset of it to make it fun and make it enjoyable. And I think being authentic will really help that as well. And so encouraging you guys just to remember, yeah, sometimes we have to push forward and sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes we have, we do it enough that we have a really positive outlook about it and we really grow into it, and it can really change us in amazing ways. And we can learn to love those things that we just used to have to force ourselves to do. So I encourage you guys just to keep moving forward and positive and looking for that positive mindset and working on that, because it will so help your business. Okay. So you guys, we've checked your mindset. Now let's check back to your original value proposition. So you guys have spent nearly 4 weeks in your daily success system, time communicating with your contacts. And now we're going to re-examine the value proposition you built in week 1. Are you guys ready? So let's turn back to the participant guide, to the value proposition you built in session 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a few minutes to review it, and then you can change any of it you feel, if it needs any refinements. And this is what I want you guys to ask yourself. Does my value proposition truly reflect who I am, the value I bring, and the benefits my clients will experience working with me? Am I confident sharing my value proposition with my contacts? If not, how can I make it easier to express my value? No, changing this. Sorry. Put them over. Oh, there you go. Okay. So I want you guys to take the next 4 minutes to review and possibly rewrite your value proposition. And then when everyone is done, we'll go over, we'll find out if you guys changed it and why. So we'll review it. So why don't you guys go ahead and take the next 4 minutes to do that. I finally caught the slides up, you guys, so this is what you're reviewing right now. guys are going through this and thinking about this, I want you to think about how you are individually and how you were made and what you as an individual can bring to your clients that's special about you, going back to authenticity, right? Like what is special about you and how you want to run your business and how you want to serve your clients that makes you different. And so think about that maybe while you're looking at your value proposition. Okay, we're gonna go over now. I'd like you guys to share, keep your names. Start sharing what you wrote down. And if it changed and why. So Kelly, do you want to go first this time? Maybe she's not there. Ariane, you want to go first?
Sure. This was actually very challenging for me, especially, well, when we actually did it originally, when we covered this chapter, as well as today, because I don't feel that I really, well, I'll just tell you what I wrote. Working with
Okay.
me, you're gaining a trusted advisor dedicated to your success. And then I didn't go any further because I'm thinking, okay, what else? Because I am a deep thinker. So I'm thinking, all right, what really does set me apart other than I'm a good listener and other than I'm compassionate?
So how many people do you know in your life that are truly good listeners?
Uh, I'd say not very many that are truly listening when you're talking to them.
So why don't you say that's a pretty phenomenal trait to bring to a relationship?
Yes.
So what I would encourage you guys to do as you're going through this and looking at your value proposition and what you have to bring to this relationship that's different is don't undermine your value. Don't belittle the value that you have, because that's a phenomenal value to bring. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be listened to. And everybody wants somebody on their side. And it sounds like that's what you're bringing. What I feel for you is you need to understand that's a tremendous value and believe that for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Cameron?
Yeah, so I was not originally here for this session, so this was me writing it for the first time. I
Excellent.
provide comfort and care. It is my duty to represent you to the best of my abilities to ensure you feel at home and confident throughout the entire process. My goal is to authentically guide and aid you in your interest to the finish line and provide you with that win-win.
Amazing. So being there for someone the entire time is so important, right? And being able to guide them through the process so they're comfortable and so they know what's going on and they don't have doubts. That's really important in every purchase and sell that we will represent a buyer or seller in. So that's awesome. Toby? Kelly, are you back yet?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and share, please?
So in the beginning, I had just wrote down that I'm curious, and so expanding on that this time, I'm eager to learn about you your wants, your needs, what you expect to get out of the transaction we're doing. And I'm curious to any obstacles we come across in the process. Because of my curiosity, I will find the solution and overcome the problem.
So that's fantastic, Kelly. Being able to recognize that, so having an interest in people is a wonderful thing. There's a lot of people whose number one is themselves. It's very common even in our business because we're all business owners and we're all very dedicated people, right? And so having that skill and sharing that will make your clients feel very special and loved. And also having the curiosity to troubleshoot and find solutions in unusual situations is actually pretty uncommon, and that's pretty amazing. And when people understand you're willing to go the extra mile to say, well, that's not possible, people don't like to hear that, but that's an answer that they will receive. And so your curiosity to dig deeper and go further will serve you well. So definitely feed into that. Alrighty. Good job, you guys. And keep reviewing that, because I think what I have found in my own experience throughout my years is my value proposition has changed. The value I thought I brought at one time has changed over the years as my business has developed, as I've developed as a realtor and as a person throughout the years, that has changed. So always review that, because what will happen is as you review your value proposition, how you present yourself to your clients will change and how they view you will change. And so keep that always in the forefront of your mind as you're growing and learning and developing. Always review that, because it will change how you present yourself to your clients and the value you bring to the relationship. And it will change because you'll gain experience, you'll have time, you'll have knowledge, you'll have all of these things. And then you'll actually maybe even find that you have a certain passion for something in real estate you didn't know was going to develop. And so just keep that in the forefront of your mind and learn to use that to your best advantage. All right.
Question.
Yes.
Would you mind telling us yours?
My value proposition. So yes, I would happily share that. For me, it is what I can bring to the relationship. So I am passionate about what I do. My number one thing is my clients trust me. So I am primarily referral based in my business at this point. And the number one things my clients say about me is they trust me. And that is not a common thing. I return phone calls, I communicate well. So for a buyer, I have a wealth of experience from a lot of do-it-yourselfers. My husband and I do everything ourselves. We kind of like started a homestead out here. So I've built things, I've done septic systems. I have all this, a wide array of knowledge. And my husband's there to support me with that. So if I have a question, I can provide kind of additional knowledge that a lot of people don't have. That's on the buyer side. On the listing side, I do business mostly entirely different than a lot of agents. I would say 99% of agents. So I'm willing to go in and I help clean houses, I stage houses, I prepare houses, I do all this. I usually spend 3 days in a listing before it ever goes live. And that's me personally in the house preparing it. And so for me, when I bring my value, I have no, like, I just go in and say, this is what I do. This is what I offer. And it's really like, it's not, I don't itemize those costs. I just provide that service. And so my people, the people that I work with, my sellers, they're willing to get in there with their elbows and get dirty too, because they see the level of effort I'm putting in. So when I have these conversations, I just believe that I have knowledge, because I do. I have experience. I have this other like kind of set of odd information, and then I'm willing to kind of dig in and do work that others aren't. And so that's the value proposition I bring in how I view myself.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think Toby was trying to chime in, but
Toby.
we weren't able to hear him.
Toby, I think you're muted. There you go. Please share.
No, we can't hear you. No,
You don't show muted, but we can't hear you.
I wonder if you disconnect from your earbud.
But we want to hear you.
Yeah. My suggestion I have for that is,
You're muted. It shows you're muted in the, oh, it shows he's muted in the corner. Did we mute him
no,
somehow?
no, he's not
Okay.
muted.
Well, it showed like click over, oh, no, it shows to mute him. I see, never mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's not.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So maybe the only other suggestion, he's gonna have to restart his computer. Okay, I think that's a good idea. Good plan. Yep, go
Okay,
for it.
okay. Take over, can I not? Yep, there you go. Okay.
Before you get started again, may I ask another quick question?
Yes,
Okay,
of course.
what do you think about, like, in the value? I don't hear us saying anything like about marketing and all that. Usually that's what in the past I've noticed, that like a seller is looking for, like, what are you going to do to market my property? Or so is that something different?
That's a really good question. And I think that every realtor will answer that differently because of the way they approach business. So for myself, what I tell my sellers is the way your property is presented is going to market itself. So by me going in and making it pristine and staging it, having professional photos, doing my Matterport, all the things that I do, by the time it hits the market, everybody wants to see the property because it's presented so well. So that's how I market their property, is I front run all of the work and it markets itself. Does that make sense?
So would that be part of your value proposition? Would you say that?
100%. Yes, I do say that. But now let's say you're not gonna do all that, okay? Like, I've been working on this for years, okay? I have a 40-foot Connex that's filled with staging stuff. I have thousands of dollars of inventory I've built up over the years, okay? This is not a normal business. I totally understand that, okay? So if you're not into that, there's still ways you can market, right? I have done YouTube videos for people. I have their own website that I provide for their specific listing. And there's other things that I do. I talk about Facebook marketing. I talk about MLS. You can do your open houses. You can do your broker opens. There's so many ways. So however you want to develop your business your marketing for your listings, absolutely present that and provide that as value because they are looking for that. They want that information.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any more questions before we move on? Okay, let's move on. So we're gonna look back to the Ignite session 1 in your participant guide, where you envisioned a big life for yourself. So I want you guys to take a few moments to reread what you wrote that day for your vision, your future, and your big life. So what I want you guys to consider is this. Is there anything you would change after 4 weeks? Are you thinking big enough? So I want you guys to take 2 to 3 minutes to review this and write it. So, and then we'll go over what you guys have, what your considerations are and how you feel like you've changed over the last 4 months. Okay, so go spend the next 2 minutes thinking about, is there anything you change after 4 weeks? Are you thinking big enough? All right, so who would like to share about any changes they made and why? Toby, are you back online? Can I see the names? again?
I can.
Oh,
I
Please do.
Okay. One of the big things for me is definitely my mindset. Um, over these past few weeks, just removing limiting thoughts and just weird thoughts, frankly, that I've had, like why I can't, do this or do that. Secondly, big for me is treating this like a real business instead of like a hobby or something. Because I've had my license for 20 years. I keep saying that because I'm shocked at myself that I've let this, and it's not beating myself up. I'm just saying I'm having like these aha moments of like, I've had my license 20 years and thinking like, what could I have done? And just by really thinking about this as a true business and working this as my business. So that's a big difference for me now is I'm thinking that way, what can I do now? And just, again, lifting that negative mindset of like, okay, fine. So maybe I didn't do anything much over the last few years, but that's okay. Things are new. I'm moving forward.
No, that's fantastic. We can't change the past, but we can certainly change the future. So that's great, Ariane, and I commend you for not beating yourself up because that doesn't do you any good, but just taking all of that energy and pushing forward to a much brighter future and to taking off those limiting mindsets, and that's phenomenal.
I'll go next. So originally I got into this, I don't even have my license yet, but I got into it because all my kids are in school and I just needed something to do, maybe extra money to get them the things they want. But after going through this, I'm seeing like I could make a whole career out of this, right? This is so much bigger
Absolutely.
than what I thought or expected, I guess. So it's a big change.
Good for you. Well, I look forward to hearing more. Cameron?
Yeah, so just being able to move with confidence throughout the whole process. I'm still waiting on my licensure as well. And then the point of like this being your business, that was really relatable because for me, it's like being independent and fully responsible for my business, and that's a big one.
I'll share a little bit about myself in this. I am a really good employee because I give 150%. I'm a really terrible employee because I'm hard to manage because I'm meant to be self-employed. So having your own business is such a freedom. And yeah, you're beholden to your client, but what is amazing, you guys, is you have the freedom to make it what you want and the buck stops with you. If you're super great at what you do, you can have all the success in the world. You want to sit on your couch and not do anything? Then, you sit on your couch and not do anything. Your boss isn't yelling at you and you're doing whatever. You're not making money, but it's a choice. And so that's what I love about this is I've been able to develop my business the way I want and make it mine. And it is so phenomenal. So be excited about it because it's an amazing opportunity. All right. Oops, sorry. That's all right. So Kelly, why don't you go ahead and read that quote for us?
Sure. It says, one thing all high achievers have in common is the way they are working for a big why. The big why is about having a purpose, a mission, or a need that in turn gives you focus.
Absolutely. Thank you. So that was introduced, the big why was introduced in day one. And we know it takes a lot of us to really think about time, to think about and determine a big concrete why for ourselves. And I think that's true. And sometimes our big why changes. So after Ignite, it's just remember it's essential to have a clear picture of your big why because it is what will keep you guys motivated and on track to meet your goals. If you forget your big why or big why changes, or maybe you're in a situation where all of a sudden, you know, your kids, you're homeschooling your kids, and that's the most important big why. Well, real estate won't be important. So, but if your big why is to provide for your kids while you're homeschooling, then you're gonna remember your big why. You're gonna stay focused on real estate. So your big why is essential to your success. So as the quote states, it's your purpose, it's your mission, and it's the need that gives you focus. So let's dig a little bit more to your big why. It's big, it's important to you, gets you out of bed every morning, excited to get busy, brings you energy and focus. It's the ultimate turbocharger, and believe it or not, it's already present, even if you haven't thought about it. So your big why can be really big or it can be a small big. It doesn't actually really matter. It's whatever drives you. Your big why should incorporate all the people in your life and the good that you can provide for them. So I want you guys to turn to your participant guide and answer these questions, and then write out a big why for yourself. Get clear on what matters to you and write it down. All right, so what topics or causes are most important to you? What gives you energy and fuels you personally, and that's important. Sometimes we forget about ourselves, but that's very important. What is something you would do even if you were not paid? What do you envision for yourself and your future? So I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes to answer these questions and then we'll review.
I just want to make sure. Can you hear me now? Am I loud and clear?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, Toby,
thank
thank you. Welcome back.
goodness. And just want to make sure that I stay caught up. What are we exactly at right now, or what are we getting ready to do?
Yes, so if you turn to 20.5, your big why, we are
All
answering
right.
those questions there.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course. wrap this up in 30 seconds. Sharon, I can't click. Oh, sorry. All right, so in order to have a big life, we must all have our big why, because our big why powers our life. So a great aspect to a big why, it helps you say yes to what's important and no to the things that aren't part of your big why. So we're gonna review our big whys. So my big why, as I've shared a little bit, is my family. And I always choke up, but they're really the core of everything I do. It doesn't matter, it just spurs everything in me. I love my family. I love to have them happy. I don't love to spoil, but I love to be comfortable. And so if I can have a comfortable, stress-free life, I like to have lots of money in the bank, not because I want to be rich, but because I don't want to stress about life or business. And so that provides a comfortable life for my family, and then we live happily ever after, right? But I can focus on not stressing about business, but I can focus on spending time with my kids when I'm home and being present. And so that really fuels my big why. So I'll let Toby start this time since he wasn't present for the last one. Toby, why don't you share your big why?
All right. So definitely my big why, in consideration of just I want to make sure that I answered this right. Is this like why I chose real estate as a career, or like what really drives me?
It's what drives you to get up every day. Like, why do you, not only why you want to do real estate, but why are you getting out of bed every day and making the effort to do real estate? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know what results I will have if I quit. You know, we automatically know what will happen. I mean, there is no moving forward at all. You're just at a stalemate. But what really pushes me to keep learning and to keep striving to grow my business in itself is that I've always had a big issue with um providing adequate information, and feel like I have never been able to provide anything of value to anybody where, you know, they take into consideration, and like going into real estate and now knowing that I've had relationships and past clients that have said thank you so much for like taking this into consideration and being able to provide that clarity really gives me that satisfaction, because like I have felt like in the past I've played myself stupid, and now knowing that I can tailor myself to this industry where I can actually provide um reassurance to people financially, or even in the sense of securing a home, really gives me the satisfaction. And plus, just because I'm a people person and I love being personable with people and making those connections. And so that's one thing I have definitely learned from Sharon, is that being personable gets you way farther than being professional. There's a balance to it, but you know, really having that connection.
Absolutely awesome, Toby. That's exceptional. Yeah, being client driven is phenomenal. Cameron?
Yeah, well, mine just kind of piggybacks on that. It's a love for people, and a willing to communicate and be with them.
That's perfect. Ariane?
Okay, so I hope this isn't too heavy for everybody, but
Um,
it's the big picture of life. Okay, because I told some of the, I guess I said this in the first couple of classes, but I'm a minister also besides being a realtor. So I'm always concerned, you know, about the big picture as far as like you, my family, my children, and people, you know, and what drives me is helping people. We want financial freedom, but even more importantly than that, just helping people achieve their dreams. You know, like that's why I even got into this, just the idea of helping people be able to get their own home, and seeing this guy that got out of jail, for example, and he never thought he could get anything. And I helped him get a house, and just, I'll never forget. And this chokes me up, but I'll never forget at the title company, the way he acted, and he was bawling. And when we took the happy picture with the fake key, it was like an incredible feeling that I just want over and over and over. So it's kind of twofold. It's like, I love being in the business to be with people because of souls. And I love it because it's my own thing. It's my own business.
It's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Kelly?
Yeah, so I kind of along the same lines with you. I wrote my kids, setting up life for them after retirement, like setting them up for success later in life, going to college, whatever it is that they want to do is what is most important to me.
Awesome. You guys, I would like to also share like my big why. My big why that I share that gets me out of bed every day is doesn't really encompass my big why of why I do business the way I do. Does that make sense to you? So what I mean by that is my big why that gets me out of bed every day is my family. The way I run my business, my big why is because I want to make my clients happy. So for me, it's a little bit twofold. And so I loved what you guys shared about serving your clients and making a difference, because that's essential to a successful business. And I am not money driven. I am satisfaction driven. So my big why in my business, which to me is very different than my big why of why I get out of bed and do this every day. And my big why in business is making a difference in my clients' lives. So when I sell a house, my clients tell me two things. One, I want to keep my house now because it looks so beautiful. And then the second thing that I like to hear my sellers say, that I hear them say, is selling my house was the easiest part of this move. If I've done that, or like the buyers, like it was stress-free, it was the easiest thing we've ever done. Those are my goals with my clients. My client satisfaction and making their life easy during the transaction is my big why in business. So you might find too for yourself that you have different whys, and I would encourage you to explore that for yourselves. Okay. All right, we'll move on. So do you guys have any big ahas so far about your mindset and your future? Okay, well, I'm gonna move on then. Okay. All right, you guys, we're going to move on to have a smart money business. And I'm actually really excited to be teaching this, because I feel like this is really overlooked, and this can really make a difference in how your business is approached, and from being desperate to being comfortable and having a business you love. Because when you're desperate, you don't usually have a business you love, and the goal is to have a business you love. So we're gonna talk about the importance of running a smart money business. It's our intention that each one of you achieves the goals you set out with and end up being highly successful in real estate. So who loves accounting and keeping business books in order? Okay, I don't. Who loves saving for paying taxes? Oh, no, I love saving money, but not paying taxes. So do any of you guys like any of that?
No.
Okay, it's pretty silent. Yeah. So I think few agents do. So you get to the business because of other skills, right? Not because we love to pay taxes. You enjoy working with people, you have great sales skills. Most agents actually lack money management skills. So we're going to begin with some financial knowledge. And you don't have to be a tax accountant or a tax advisor to do this. And you just need to know when to consult with the experts. So do you guys remember these, your 6 big jobs? So we've been learning a lot about 1 through 5. So we're going to return for a moment, and we're going to learn about managing the money. So you're all going to get paid for your diligent work you did to help your buyers and sellers. And that's what you're here for. To get paid and develop a big business for yourself, right? Okay. it's important to remember that getting paid in the real estate industry is really different from the salary, if you've been a salaried employee, okay, that you may have gotten before. So the check you get upon closing, a deal is not to be put in your pocket and spent. There will be expenses to pay and ever-present taxes that must be saved for and paid for every quarter. And some people don't realize that quarterly taxes are due. Quarterly taxes are due. So pay them quarterly or you'll pay penalties. You don't want to pay penalties. So who remembers where the commission goes?
To the broker.
Okay. Good answer. Next.
I would say broker as well.
Okay, that's correct. What other expenses do we have? So the market center's up there. You have business expenses, you have taxes, and then you have your take home. Okay, you guys, so like your market center expenses are going to be, so we'll get to that. Okay, so it's just, you have to remember it's a lot different than thinking you're getting your full commission, and that's what we want to cover today. So as we told you before, an important habit to start right now is always put money away for your taxes first. You have to pay them. So there are many stories of highly successful agents who didn't have this habit, ended up with huge tax bills, and you really don't want that. And penalties paid at the end of the year. So it's a good time to remind you to take the KW course called Profitability Agents and Financials. So So let's take an example. Here are two different scenarios of a transaction closed by a solo agent, Jessica Campbell, where her share of the commission is $9,000. Sounds pretty good, right? We all like $9,000, okay? Okay, so let's go to your participant guide and we'll look at the two scenarios. Okay, so this is on 20.7. And is the 9,000 commission Jessica receives profit or income revenue? Toby, what do you think?
I want to say probably the income revenue.
That's correct. It's income. That's why it's called gross commission income, GCI. Profit is what's left over to grow your business, to save for taxes, and to fund your personal lifestyle. It's important to know the difference between profit and income. So why is Jessica getting a check for $57.60 for a commission of $9,000? Arian?
Because if right off the top, you are paying your franchise fee and you're paying your split.
Absolutely. So you're cutting the market center fees are deducted before your check is even cut. So, Kelly, what scenario is financially sound?
The second one.
Yes. Where Jessica puts 30% in her business account to pay her business related expenses. What makes it financially sound, Toby? The second scenario. If you don't have the answer, I'll answer it.
You can go ahead.
Okay. So she saves taxes so she can pay them on time when due quarterly. So in this scenario, Jessica is saving 40% of her income for taxes. It's kind of high in my experience, but it's better safe than sorry. So this number may be high, and this is where it's good to check with the CPA. Okay, this is where your professional comes in to determine the rate at which you should save for taxes. And I'm going to interject a little bit here. It's not in the script. You guys also talk to an accountant about doing, oh, I'm totally spacing what I was going to say. Okay, I'll come back to that. Anyway, so most agents receive little or no guidance on how to handle their first or any commission check and end up where they don't have money to pay their taxes, and you don't want that. So, and you have to have a life you want to fund. So you have to make sure that you're preparing how your commission will be deducted from and used properly. Incorporate these financially sound business practices into your business from the start with every transaction you close. And what I was going to say is talk to an accountant when you do about becoming an S Corp. It's a really, really good way, you guys, as an agent, to reduce your tax liability. So talk to an accountant about that. I can't recommend it enough. It's saved me tens of thousands of dollars. All right, money is good for the good it can do. So now that we have a clear understanding of the importance of being financially sound, I'm gonna ask you guys, what is the purpose of business? Cameron, what do you think the answer to that is? What does any business want?
It wants money because he can't do anything without money.
Correct, they want profit, right? Everybody wants to be profitable. We want to be in the black, not in the red. Okay, so you have to have the money to do good for your family and community. So, what good will your money create for you? So that's what you guys can think about. Okay, let's explore the difference between income and profit and how the way you think of it can change the outcome of your business. So important. So if you've taken an accounting course, you probably know the formula commonly used to calculate the profit of a business is income minus expenses equals profit. So while the formula to calculate profit is important, it's not the model that we use to set and track our profit goals each month, quarter, year. Instead, we ask ourselves the following strategic questions in your participant guide. So, profit. How much money do I intend to have in my bank account at the end of the year? It's a very different question, isn't it? Okay. How many homes do I need to sell to achieve my profit goal? And how can I minimize my expenses to maximize my net income? So thinking of it this way keeps us focused on profit rather than income. And that, you guys, that's so important because you can have a GCI, but if you forget about your taxes and your split and all of that stuff, it looks really pretty. But at the end of the year, like we have so much, right? Like you have your business expenses, you want to provide for your family. I highly recommend having a savings account. One thing that's often overlooked is you're self-employed. You need to save for your own retirement. So you have to put away money in your savings for your retirement, plus all your family expenses and living for the year, plus your business expenses, plus what your market center is due. So there's a lot of things to think about and it's totally doable. I'm happy to say you guys, it's totally doable, okay? But you have to be focused on it and pay attention to where it's going. So thinking, where does our real estate income come from? Listing incomes comes from transactions with sellers, sales from transactions with buyers, referral incomes comes from agents who pay you a portion of their commission due to a referral you gave them. Leasing income comes from clients who use your services to help them find a property. Okay. Now let's talk about expenses. I have a question for you real quick, Shirley. They have space here in the book, but it doesn't indicate time. Okay, you can choose and decide. Okay, what you want to spend time on. That's good. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to encourage you guys to come back after the class today. And I want you to think about the profit, income, and expenses. I really want you guys, I know the class is done today, but for your future, think about what you want your profit to be at the end of the year. And think about, then go backwards like we have to do in real estate to figure out then how many homes you have to sell, what that income looks like and what your expenses are going to look like. So that at the end of the year, you guys are in a comfortable place to do business the way you want to do business. So I can't force you guys to do it, but I really encourage you to do it. I think will help you be successful. So now let's talk about expenses. There's two types. So you have the cost of sales and you have operating expenses. So cost of sales only occurs when you have a transaction. Operating expenses occurs every day, whether or not you have a transaction. So like, for example, an operating expense for me is my office rent. Whether I sell anything, I have my office rent. Okay, I have my office expenses. They never go away. Whether or not I close a transaction, all the gas I use driving around showing clients whether or not they buy a house, that is an operating expense. Okay, so just what you guys understand, the cost of being in business with the market center, cost of sales are the company dollar, they're the royalty, any referral fees owed to referring partners. If you have employees involved in the transactions, like a transaction coordinator, you only have a transaction coordinator when you have a transaction, right? Okay, those expenses will fall under the cost of sales. Now, the company dollar the agent pays determined by the market center, and it'll vary by market center. Royalty is capped at $3,000, and that's determined by KWRI. You also have operating expenses, the expenses you incur to run your business, whether you're earning anything or not. Like we have licensure expenses every year, right? You have renewal expenses, you have fuel, you have insurance, you have auto, all of those things, they never go away, whether or not you make a sale, they're always there. So, but there's no cost of sales if you have no transactions, but there's always operating expenses to cover. So you can see them up there. In your participant guide, you will see this checklist as a best practices to have as a smart money business. This is a great way to put yourself on a path that will ensure your financial well-being. You may be able to check off the first item on this list given your experience now to determine your big why. So go through the list and briefly talk, So think about, so let's look at this really quick. So I want you guys to look at this list, okay? And then, so think about who you may know that may be able to help you, for example, like an accountant or CPA or an attorney. So what you could do is ask your core group, who you may know that can help you find one of those. And while you're doing that, remind them you're in business, like your sphere, call your sphere and ask them who they would recommend for a CPA or an accountant, okay? And while you're doing that, remind them you're in business and then use it as a way to lead generate as well as get information from them. People always feel special when you're asking them for a referral, right? So they are already feeling like a trusted source, which opens them up to doing business with you. So use that opportunity to remind them why you're looking for an attorney, right? As far as for me, when I found an attorney, it wasn't through my sphere, which would have been a much better idea, but I found my attorney through another agent who was using them. I was serving on the board of realtors at the time, and they recommended this CPA to me, and it's been a game changer for me. So it's been really great. But some of the things like you want to gain clarity on your big why, you want to set up personal business and business budget. So you guys, that's really important. And then these are such great things, having open additional bank accounts for taxes, expenses, and other things. So I do that. I will transfer money out into other accounts. I do that. I have an unusual, I do that for property taxes. I don't pay property taxes through my mortgage. So every month I transfer a certain amount out for property taxes and insurance into a separate account. So it's not in a money that I see that I pay my bills out of. So I encourage you guys to do that. It will really make you set up an account for saving your taxes. So maybe you save 30% or 10 or whatever your CPA recommends aside for your taxes. So when you get your check in, like my check, it comes into my checking account. I transferred into my savings account. I only allow so much to be in my checking that I budget from. And then that's my business checking. And then for my business checking, I actually transfer to my personal checking for my personal budget. And then out of my personal checking account, or excuse me, my business checking account, I take my business expenses, but I don't touch my savings account, right? So, and then transfer how much you need for taxes. Now, what I do is I don't transfer for taxes out. I just make sure two things, that I have enough to pay my taxes, and at the end of every year, I have enough in my savings account to actually fuel an entire year of living. That's why I run my business and my personal life, because it reduces my stress. I didn't get there overnight, you guys. And when I did that, my husband was still working when I was able to kind of put that nest egg away. And I've just been able to maintain that every year that I've been in business. But if you can get to something like that, I highly recommend it because it reduces your business stress a lot. Toby, why don't you go ahead and read that quote? Only two people left.
I think he left.
Okay. Cameron, why don't you go ahead and read the quote?
Yeah. Think and act the wage you want before you earn it. Average is as average does. Good is as good does. And great is as great does. What you do is who you become.
Okay. Tell me what you think about that, Cameron, and then we'll get to everybody else too.
Yeah. So when you put yourself in the mindset that you are a billionaire and you act like it, you will attract that to you. It's manifestation.
It's fantastic, isn't it? Have you guys experienced that personally? Any of you?
I have. I did it with a piece of land once that I wanted. And I just took a picture of the plat, put it on my bathroom mirror, looked at that every day, prayed about that every day, went and sat in front of it. And it was a vacant lot. So I went over and sat in front of it and just visualized, this is mine. And it became mine.
It's amazing, isn't it? I have watched this go both ways. I have watched people manifest in a very negative way, and I have watched people manifest in a very positive way. What we think will happen, it just is how it works. I can, yeah, I go into a store and I think everybody wants to help me and everybody wants to help me. My husband goes into a store and he thinks nobody wants to help him and nobody wants to help him. And you guys, we can talk to the same people. It doesn't matter. Like it is so true. The universe gives back what we give it. Okay, so it's so true in our business and how we think and what we can be. So let's revisit the income goal you set for yourself in session 1. So refer back to your participant guide in session 1 and take a look at what you wrote. So are you guys thinking and acting the way you intend even before you've earned it? It's a good question. Are there any changes you'd make now after working on your success system and learning so much more about the real estate business? So Kelly, why don't you answer that question? So are you thinking and acting that way? And are there any changes you'd make now after working on your success system?
Yeah, I feel like I am acting and thinking this way. I've actually gained a lot of confidence through this course, so I think I'm doing better than I started off.
That's awesome. Arian?
I'm sorry, would you please ask again? What was the question?
Yes. Are there any changes? Are you thinking and acting the way you intend? So do you feel like you're, that's where you're at? And then are there any changes you'd make now after working on your success system?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's kind of just what I was saying before, just being more intentional, treating this like a real business instead of just like a side hobby or something like that, or waiting. Before I was counting on people that I've done business with in the past just to, say, oh, hey, I've got business again. And that's not how it works. I mean, sometimes, but not in the long haul. So yes, that's something different too, just being more intentional, going after what it is that I want and having clarity. First off, just even getting clarity like from this class of what am I trying to do? Why, what am I wanting and what is the big picture of this?
Absolutely. Cameron? All right, you're Cameron there. Okay, I don't know, he went now, okay. So with the quick calculation, who can tell me how many transactions they must complete each month to reach their net income goal? So in this situation, what you want to do is divide line F, the annual transaction goal, by 12. So Kelly, how much do you need, how many transactions do you need to do per month to reach your net income goal?
Let me do the math real quick.
Okay, you're good.
Like 1.5.
Awesome. Arian?
Sorry,
You're
I'm
good.
still figuring it out
Okay,
because
figure it out, you're good.
Yeah.
Let me know when you have it.
all right. So, um, I'm gonna need to do 6 a month.
That's amazing. Good for you. And Cameron, are you there or not?
Sorry, I'm here now. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so the question is, how many transactions do you need to do each month to meet your net income goal? So you would take line F and divide it by 12.
3. I would need to make 3.
Excellent. Okay, so you guys all have very different goals, right? And that's totally okay. We heard a range from 6, 3 to 1.5. And what I want you guys to remember is the goal you have set is very personal. Okay, my goal is not to be the highest producer in this office. There is a fine lady here and I love her to death. You know what her goal is? Is to be the highest producer in our office every year. That's her goal. That's not my goal. My goal is to make enough money to live comfortably and provide for my family, have time for my family, and with my family, do the things I want. That's my goal. And as long as I provide for my family and I have a certain amount I need to do, that's fine, but it's not to be the top producer. So if somebody like Arian had the 6 per month, that's great. And Kelly, the 1.5, like, just remember, just not to compare yourself to others. Keep what's important to you in mind and focus on that goal and learn to love and accept that, okay? But remember that your goals are personal and to reach your goals that you have success within yourself. Hope that was helpful. So let's turn to the participants guide and let's think big. So let's say you had your net income goal at day 1 for $100,000. If you could increase that 50%, so 150, whatever that goal was. So recalculate, if you guys would like to recalculate everything using the estimate examples for B and C. And then how many transactions would you need to complete each month to stretch this goal? Is that doable? And will you commit to stretching the goal? So what I think I'd like you guys to do is take 2 minutes to do that if you can. If that's not enough time, maybe you guys can review that at home too.
Can I ask you a quick question too?
Yes.
With royalty cap, is that meaning, I can't remember exactly if this means like, once you've paid $3,000 in the franchise fee, that's the cap? Is that what it means?
So there's 2 different things. Your cap is like, it's an individual cap and it varies if you're on a team or you're a solo agent, but that is the commission split. So like, let's say you're at a 60-40 or 70-30 split, whatever's been negotiated, I have no idea. Then once you pay that 30% until you reach 15,000, okay, then at that point, that's capping out. That is separate from your franchise or royalty fee, which is your $3,000. Okay, so they're 2 separate fees.
Oh, right. Okay. But it still is 3,000 max for a
That is
company.
correct.
Oh,
That is correct. Yep.
thank you.
Yep. And then you also have a transaction fee. It's $100 per transaction, and that maximizes at 30. So the most you'll ever pay in transaction fees is also $3,000. So once you pay your cap, your franchise fee, and your past 30 transactions, you get 100% of your check. have a complete spreadsheet that I created, you guys, an Excel spreadsheet, where I calculate everything in every check, and I double check it to what my commission is being calculated. I calculate my franchise fee or my royalty fee, my cap, and my transactions, and I track it personally. And I compare it to everything that happens in Command. So it enables me to very easily track my gross income, my net income, what I need to pay for taxes, whatever it is. And I can track what I have in the pipeline, what's closed, and I can see how much money I've made, how much money I have coming in. And then I also keep like future leads or, anticipated business in there. And so if I need to, I can plug in numbers and be like, okay, this is where I'm gonna be for the whole year. It's super helpful for me. I love it. So you might want to consider doing something like that for yourself, just to make your life easier too. And it's just an easy way to see if you're reaching your goals. Because sometimes what if you needed to do, let's say, 72 houses in a year, but let's say you had 4 listings that were $1 million listings. Well, if your anticipated list price or house sale was 400,000, all of a sudden that's 4 instead of 12 homes. See what I mean? So it can really vary by the sale price of the home too. Okay, we're going to move forward. Oh, can I have it back? All right. So now that you have a fair understanding of your real estate finances and how to have a smart money business, let's discuss how to get paid. Am I on the right page? Yes, I am. So first, you guys confer with the Market Center administration, like productivity coach, the team lead, the Market Center tech trainer on the process. Use Command to submit your commission requests and opportunities. This does require agents to create an offer, to accept an offer, being able to submit a commission request. So how can I show them how to go through this process?
I'll do it another time.
Okay, we're gonna do that another time. Okay. But you guys, this is what I do recommend. Sometimes you will join a team and a TC will do this all for you. Sometimes, and if that's the case, because a lot of new agents do join teams, I still really recommend you learn how to do this. What I want you guys to know is Command is not that hard. It's actually pretty intuitive. I recommend how to know how to use the system. What happens if you're on a team and you decide you want to become a solo agent? Well, you've been so dependent that you feel unable to move forward as a solo agent. So learn the processes, learn how to do all this stuff, so you have the independence if you so choose to do this on your own. The same thing with doing all your transaction work. Like, I'm not saying to do all your transaction work, do what you want, but I would encourage you to learn the process so that you feel like you're making a choice to use a transaction coordinator that is not being a forced fee from you because you don't know how. Okay, make sure whatever you're doing in your business is a choice. It's a cost you're choosing, not just because you don't know how. Okay, I'm a solo agent. I don't have any administrative help. I don't use a TC. I am probably way too independent. It's not what's preached. I know that. But I'm just saying, if you know the systems, then at least it's a choice.
I do want to touch on opportunities and Command. I believe I sent you guys the 66-day challenge for using KW Command with video links. And the video link for how, introducing the opportunities applet, and also how to customize the opportunity stages begins on day 19 of the challenge. So you actually have, let's see, 1, 2, 6, 8. You actually have 8 videos on how to use Command at your fingertips. So you'll be able to reach into that. And if you need help, any further help, reach out to Brian or myself, and we'll help walk you through it.
When they're whizzes at Command, you guys take them up on their offers. I did. When I came here, I was like going into my 4th year in real estate, and I hit Brian up for a ton of stuff because he cares, and he's willing to teach you. He's willing to tell you everything he does. Like, it's amazing. So when they offer that, take them up on it. Don't just let it be an empty offer. Okay. So I want to hear what your guys' ahas are about running a smart money business and what questions you have. So I'm gonna start with Arian. Arian, tell me what you feel like, how you feel this has helped you, maybe some ahas that you've had, what we've been going over today. About maybe profit versus net income, about the expenses we have, how to manage the money, what that looks like for you and your business.
Okay. Yes, and yes, and yes. I'm so glad we went over this because again, this was a nightmare that I had in the very beginning of getting my license. And I was taught, over and over, save your tax money. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then when I've got my first paychecks, I was so excited. I didn't save any of my money. So of course, then I owed money. So, yes. So I think it's wonderful that we're learning this, talking about all this, trying to figure out, you know, um, strategizing ahead of time and even the goal setting, financially, because that's something I haven't really done either. And I'm sure that someone told me to, but I just ignored it. So I'm glad that, we're learning all this. Actually, I do have just it's 6% franchise, right? That's like random, but okay.
Correct. No, you're good.
Okay. So yeah, awesome. This has been a really, really beneficial. Well, all of it's been great, but this is really good. Oh, and quarterlies. That's another thing. I didn't even realize, that you can be penalized for that, which also happened to me on my taxes. And I was like, what is this? And they're like, well, you never paid quarterlies. Well, I didn't even know about it.
Yeah. And you guys, it's really easy to do for you that have never done it. You go onto irs.gov, yay, our favorite place. But you can see and you can make quarterly payments right there. You can file them. It's online. It seriously takes like 10 minutes or less. What I do is I have a reminder on my phone. It pops up because they're due April 15th. So I already have my one pop up. They're due April, May, June, July 15th, and then October 15th. And then January 15th, not in December. So your last quarter is actually due January 15th. Okay, so those are the months they're due. So what I do, and you can Google, if you guys, you don't have to write that all down, but you can Google like when quarterly taxes are due for 2025. They'll give you all the dates. Make a reminder on your phone, make them annual, make them pop up like 2 weeks before or something. So it's in your mind, so you can make sure that money's sitting there. Hopefully you've saved for it so that you can pay quarterly taxes. Can be complicated. What I usually do is I look at how much I made through my Excel spreadsheet for that quarter. And what I honestly do is I pay about 10%. And it has served me well. And I only do that, you don't have to talk to your CPA, but I do that because I know what my expenses usually are and that it pans out and I actually usually get money back at the end of the year. In addition to that, because I'm an S Corp, I'm also paying like quarterly taxes on like my other income from, being like an employee under my S Corp. And I have my husband who's an employee for me, so I pay taxes on him too. So I'm paying taxes like double taxes, one for my S Corp and one for my income. So I don't know at the end of the year. So I hope that's helpful, but that's what I recommend. So you don't forget to make those payments. Okay, Kelly?
Yeah.
Any ahas?
Since I'm totally new to this, keeping separate accounts for everything and, taking the things in like paying taxes quarterly is something I didn't think about. So this has been like eye-opening for how to manage the money.
I'm so glad to hear that. I have talked to people who had no clue that they had quarterly taxes due. My first brokerage did teach me that. I am very grateful for that. Cameron?
I'm kind of in the same boat with Kelly here. The quarterly taxes really threw me off. I didn't know that was a thing. So that's really good information. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you guys, I think what's really important to take away from this too is how we kind of work backwards in real estate, right? You take your gross and then you take what you pay for your company share, and then you take like your marketing expenses and all your expenses and what you can anticipate those to be. And after your first year, you guys will have a better idea of what that looks like and kind of the percentage it looks like. And you can calculate that as a percentage of the check. And then again, your taxes. And then remember your monthly budget for your family. And if you are dual income, if it's not your primary income, maybe it's a portion of it that goes to that. And then retirement. And then savings, there's so many facets, and I keep hitting retirement and savings because you guys, I don't know how many of you know how many realtors live paycheck to paycheck. There's a really lot of successful realtors that live paycheck to paycheck, you guys. It's really stressful to do that. And we have to provide for our own future because we're self-employed. We don't have a 401k anymore from a business, right? From an employer, excuse me. So you make sure you're considering all of those things. And I encourage you guys to write this down. Look into self-directed 401ks. This is not on the script. Solo 401ks and self-directed 401ks are something that we can do as businesses, business owners, that you can't do unless you're a business owner. And look into those and research those because they can be really beneficial for you also. Okay. And you can do things with those. Like I have one, we actually rolled over our retirement accounts. I used to work for the state. My husband used to be a federal employee. We rolled ours over to our own self-directed, and you can actually invest in like real estate with it. So it's really cool. There's a lot of, regulation that goes along with it, like everything, but there are some awesome opportunities in there. So I encourage you in your spare time, whenever that is, look into stuff like that. You guys have any more questions? Okay. So let's move on to the success system for life.
Sorry,
We've been
real
saying-
quick, can I
Yes.
ask you real quick before we go?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so, and I know this is a tax or accountant question, but can you just briefly say, like, what is the S corporation like as opposed to, is this just a way to help us with the self-employment tax or, but you don't
Yes.
have to worry about that, right? Until obviously you're making money, but is there a certain amount of money that you need to start thinking about that?
So, I guess for myself, when I was starting to pay an exorbitant, what it felt like an exorbitant amount of taxes, like $45,000 to $50,000 a year, I wanted a solution. And so, the accountant I was working with, I'm gonna digress a little bit, but the accountant I was working with was opposed to S corps. It's like, well, there's extra fees and you have to file quarterly and there's payroll taxes and all this stuff, and it's gonna cost you more money. I'm like, okay, it's gonna cost me more money to have an accountant do that, but I also got back $20,000 in taxes. So I was kind of okay with the extra $1,200 it cost me every year with the accountant or whatever it was. I don't think it was that much. I think it's $150 a month, a quarter I pay for them to handle my quarterly taxes as far as payroll goes, okay? So what an S corp does is it gives you a salary. And the salary my CPA uses is $40,000 a year because they take an average income. Well, there's a lot of realtors and only a small portion actually make a large part of the income. So our average is really low. So what I have to pay 30% taxes on is only the $40,000 salary I have. And then my husband, I pay taxes on his small amount that I pay him for working with me too. Okay, so that taking 50,000 off the top, that's what I'm paying higher taxes on. The rest is called dividends, and you're not paying Social Security on that, and you're not paying the other employee tax on that. So you're paying 15% tax on your profit. So like, let's say you make $100,000 a year. Okay, let's just say of gross income. 40,000 is taken off the top where you're paying just the 30% taxes on that. You have 60,000 left. Let's say that, you have the part that goes to, to your brokerage, and then you have, all your business expenses. So let's say at the end that you're making 70,000 net income. Okay, now you're only paying 15% taxes on the remaining of that $30,000. So it's really reducing your tax liability is what it's doing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Again, you can talk to your CPA about it and ask them when it's a good time to jump in. I just don't like paying as many taxes, and I'm not really worried about Social Security because I'm not banking on it being there, and I've paid for it so long in my life as being an employee that I'm not concerned about that so much, what I'm putting into that. If you are concerned about that, you might want to raise your wage more so you're paying more Social Security. That would be the only thing. But again, talk to your CPA about that. Okay, so this. So let's talk, learning new processes is a process. The daily success system has been a new process for you guys. You've learned new ways of doing business. Undoubtedly, you've had some wins, things that went well. and opportunities and areas of improvement, right? Like we all have those. So in your participant guide, I want you to jot down wins and opportunities from your experience with the success system. So this is for you only, so be honest with yourself to get the most out of this exercise. You might uncover some ideas that will help you for the future. So I'm gonna allow you guys 5 minutes for reflection and writing, and then if you guys wanna share, you can.
Stop. Don't touch.
Okay, so does It's not required that you participate, but I always encourage participation. So maybe if you guys, because I said this was all for you alone, so I know you're being really honest, but if any of you are brave enough to share, we'd love to hear, because it might be able to help another. Will likely help someone else, I should say. So have any of you had any successes? None? Seriously?
Okay, so the most success I've
Yes.
had, not, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Go ahead, Cameron.
Okay, so the most success I have not having my license yet, with the conversations and the contacts added and everything, I've actually seen in the past 3 weeks the amount of contacts popping up in my contact list is almost tripled. So there is definitely a lot to gain from this.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Cameron. Okay, who else was sharing? Arian?
For me, just the accountability every day, even like every single day, starting our day off with Sharon, like asking us, okay, did you make your calls or whatever? Because I knew that, if I didn't feel like calling or something because I was tired, I'm like, well, I'm not going to lie. So I need to do what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right? How about you, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm kind of where Cameron is since I don't have my license. I have
Mhm.
been making a point when I'm at the kids' sports games or doing other things with kids' parents. I've been getting more contacts and having reason to stay in communication with them. So,
Mhm.
yeah, putting myself out there has been good.
That's fantastic, you guys. Those are amazing wins. And don't underestimate what building those habits will do for your business overall. So thank you for sharing. Okay, so we've talked a lot about accountability, that was just mentioned too, and how important it is to success. So as Gary Keller reminds us, no one succeeds alone. You guys, anybody who says that is lying. So let's review why accountability is important. Keeps your mindset focused and positive, like we were hearing, right? Like, I gotta get this done because someone's gonna ask me a question. Remind you of your big why. It challenges you and it makes you uncomfortable at times. And I will say, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Is one of our 6 personal perspectives. Be accountable. Accountability drives change. The opposite is status quo, which keeps you in victimhood. And you guys, I would even say it's probably not status quo. You're either probably progressing or regressing. There's seldom just a status quo where you're stagnant. Okay, so we're either growing or we're probably ungrowing. I don't think that's word. So what forms of accountability are there? So there's an accountability partner, right? Then there's a productivity coach in your market center. There's a mentor. There's a KW Maps coach. You have a personal friend. You have a husband. Sometimes, children will hold you accountable. Have you tried children? They'll be like, Mom, you said you were going to do that. You didn't do that. Like, there's so many people that we use for accountability. So I want to share a little bit of something with you guys. This is not a personal note, not real estate, but I've committed that next year I am running. You'll be happy to know I'm doing Mayor's Marathon next year. So I was recently in a group and I was committing to running 2 times a week because I wanted to work on my personal health. And I used to run every day of the week. And so I'm like, I'm going to go for at least 2 times a week. Then I'm like, I'm running a marathon next year. I've been wanting to run a marathon since I was in my 20s. And I'm doing it next year and I'm committed. And I've told my children this, and I can guarantee you one thing, my kids will hold me to it to the nth degree, because that's what kids do. They're like, Mom, you said you're going to do this. Mom. And like, then my oldest like, Mom, go running. We've got this. You go running. We'll get this finished. You go running. And so they're supporting me. So don't underestimate who can hold you accountable. Okay. So when choosing accountability partner for the future, choose a partner who's comfortable with discomfort. Of course, kids want to that. Accountability isn't always comfortable, and your partner needs to be willing to make you uncomfortable and willing to sit in your discomfort. And I've actually had a coach before who was not willing for this, and I fired him because I'm a really strong personality and I know that. And he wasn't willing to be like, Patricia, you need to deal with this. Now, Brian Sherburne, he's totally willing to hold me accountable. He doesn't cut me any slack. And that's one reason I love Brian, is because he holds me to it. And it's like, yeah, so, okay, what's your excuse? I'm like, oh, well, I would like my excuse, dang it. So have someone who's willing to make you uncomfortable. Choose a partner who helps you stay accountable. For example, they make you write a check a charity when you don't comply. So whatever your consequence is for not doing your action, make sure they're willing to hold you accountable. You may think you cannot afford a coach. However, paying for coaching has proven to be highly successful for many agents. And I did have a coach in the past who was amazing. And that's part of my problem now, is he was so amazing and held us accountable that you have to find someone who fits you. But when you do, you guys are so beneficial, okay? Even in the first year of business, agents with coaching tend to make up the cost of coaching with their increased earnings. An important component of any kind of accountability coaching is to respect it, follow it, and be grateful for it. So here are some tools to help you be accountable. Your 411, scheduling your priorities by yearly goals, monthly goals, and weekly goals. Look at your 411 daily, like she sat in front of her land, okay? Before doing any other task. Ask your market center for a copy of the 411 or find a version on Connect. Time blocking, so important. Schedule your time off and your job number one, lead generation and follow-up. And then the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller and his writing team keeps you focused on your big why, your one thing. You will find best practices to protect your time and maintain your energy. So what kind of accountability will you choose going forward? So I'm gonna give you guys like 3 minutes to write this down in your participation guide. All right. Anyway, we're gonna kind of move forward because I'm evidently, we're taking a little bit of time and delving deep, but anyway, so you guys can think about your ahas later and just really work on who you want to use as an accountability partner and delve into that and lean into it and use it. So. Industry. Okay. So, and do you guys think that learning stops after Ignite? Probably not, right? So who can recall the 6 personal perspectives that talks about learning? Do you guys remember that? Very one. It's from day one. You guys can all like yell yes, same time. Okay, so make being learning based the foundation of your action plan, right? We always want to keep learning. Learning goes on forever. You'll always find new things to learn about. The important thing is to make a plan. And you guys, whether it is intentional learning, like reading self-help books, or whether it is learning in real estate, you will never stop. I run into things, I learn things in every transaction, new things. It's amazing. So be open to it, embrace it, and grow from it. So let's refer to the participant guide here. And there are many paths of learning. For example, learning about your local market and previewing homes so you are an expert on the inventory. So you guys have been learning about your market already. What else would you add to this list about knowing your market? I'll start with Kelly on this one.
I would say, as far as buyers go, what is the frame of which they are looking to buy, like the cost?
Uh-huh. Nice. Okay, Cameron, do you have one thing? Ariane?
I think if this is right, what you're asking, I'm thinking about the fact that right now we have low inventory. So I'm
Mhm.
using that as a strategy, to open up opportunity to get listings. I'm telling everybody that I come in contact with about the fact that, just in general conversation, how the market is more of a seller's market because we have low inventory.
Absolutely. Yes, that's great. So remember that, yeah, so there's so much to always learn, right? Whether it's just your local market, about real estate, etc. So remember that KW has 2 large training events every year. There's family reunion in February, make a camp in August, and they can be expensive, but they can propel your business to new heights from all the learning and network you experience. So surrounding yourself with successful people learning what they're doing and learning their insight can really propel your business forward. We mentioned the books before that Gary and his team have written. They are great resources to read and learn from. In addition, the catalog includes Your First Home, The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, Hold and Flip. Okay. So tap into all that Keller Williams offers. There are several options beyond what your market center offers. Here are some courses to consider taking in the future. So some are on demand, some have a fee. Ask your market center if any in-person classes will be offered soon. In your participant guide, mark 1 or 2 that you would like to attend in the next 6 months. You guys, they're so helpful. So mindset and accountability, 6% personal perspectives. I understand we have that coming up sometime this year. I've attended it. It's really great. Of course, Bold, Quantum Leap, command your business, Smart Finances, which is profitability. We talked about this today. H Financials, business planning, which is really helpful. Career visioning under hiring, sales skills, no ceilings, level up your lead generation, train the presenter, customer experience, and win-win negotiations. And then diversity, equity, inclusion, the color of real estate, unconscious bias, agent of distinction. Do you guys have any questions about those? Okay. So definitely take a few minutes to plan out your learning plan for the next 12 months. Ask yourself, what can I really accomplish in that time, or what course of action will be most beneficial to me? And you guys, I would do this, and don't overwhelm yourself. Like, make it reasonable to something that's going to fit into your family life and into your business life. Okay, you don't want to say, well, I'm going to read these 6 books in the next year, and you only make it through 1 and you feel like a failure, right? Because it's summertime, business picks up, you want to do something recreational, you want to do something with the family. Like, make it reasonable, but keep growing. So I'll give you guys a minute to think about that, and then we'll move on. Write it down in your learning plan. don't have the next. The next one is not what's in. Oh. Weird. Okay. It goes on to mission and then. what it- Yeah, it ends it after this one does. Which is maybe why it ends up 1:30. Let me check. Okay. Oh. That's a couple more, but it doesn't do. Oh, first. Yeah. Okay, you guys, so Kelly, why don't you go ahead and read the mission? Thank you.
To build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving.
Amazing. Ignite has set you on a path to build your career worth having in your business worth owning. Your path does not end here, you guys. You have other destinations on your journey. You have a life worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. So after our time together, do you have a picture of what your life, experiences, and legacies may consist of? What are your thoughts? So I'm gonna have Ariane go first on this one. You guys can refer to your participant guide and write down any ideas you have. You can verbally share as well.
That's pretty broad. I think I might need some more time to kind of define that.
Sure,
Yeah.
I agree. It's a big question. I'm gonna share just a little bit and give you guys maybe spark some thought, but like, I think to build a career worth having, it's a very personal thing. And, in this world of real estate up here, it's a really small business. And one thing I didn't know was when I got into the career field of real estate is how many people it would involve in my community. My world has grown so much, right? You know, builders, you know, contractors, you know, electricians and plumbers. Like I go to our school, my kids go to charter school out here. And there's a significant amount of self-employed people at that school. And I know like a lot, I wouldn't say majority, I know a lot of them because of real estate. And somebody asked me to do like help them with the CMA. And then I find out I'm like doing trail day with the dad that I didn't meet before, but I'd met in real estate. And now his kids go to the same school. Like you get so involved in the community, right? So the legacy we leave is really important because our community is small. Alaska is small. And so making something worth living, something that you're proud of is really important because our reputations are really important up here and what we leave behind, our legacy we leave behind will be known, whether it's good or bad, everybody in our community will know it. So make it worth it. And for yourself, you want to have that confidence in yourself and you want to sleep good at night. So make sure the business you are doing is something you're proud of. That's what I really encourage. So get real about your situation and get right about what you're doing. Bring a greater sense of clarity, priority, and focus to your work. So before our final exercise of this learning course, we're going to look at this quote because it speaks to the truth about success in this business. In order to achieve your life worth living, experiences worth giving, legacies worth leaving, you must get real about your situation and get right about what you're doing. Bring a greater sense of clarity, priority, and focus to your work. So take 5 minutes. You guys will. To put together your future plan for the next 12 months. Into one page in your participant guide, and this is on 20.14. I'll put the time.
Well, you guys have fun.
Thanks. Okay, so you guys, I want you guys to either take that Design Your Future out of your book or take a picture of it on your phone or both. So you can keep it inside at all times to keep you focused and on track to your success. And if you weren't able to finish it, I encourage you to finish it tonight because I didn't give you guys probably enough time, quite frankly, to finish all of that. So I would encourage you guys to finish that tonight and then maybe do both. Keep it in a physical place and keep it on your phone. Oh, can you put the phone? Okay. So you guys were over time right now. If you guys have any ahas you want to share, let's make it brief and then we'll go on. If you would just want to move forward to the end, we can do that. What do you guys want to do? Tell me. It's your class.
I'm cool with moving on.
Okay. So I want you guys to write your participant guide. Have you grown in each area? Okay, so can you put next? So how your thinking has changed, what ideas or mindsets were new, what do you feel differently about, what was meaningful to you today? How will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions will you take? What tools, models, or systems will you use? How will they make you accountable? So I want you guys to think about that and write that down in your book. And you, again, you guys would like to do that tonight, you're welcome to. I know we're over time, so. And I think that completes the course for today, you guys. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate your participation. It's what makes the class. You guys were great at participation. Appreciate your feedback and being open to being vulnerable and share and learn.
Yes, thank you
Thank
so
you
much. for
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We really, really appreciate it. All right, hang in there, guys. Guys, big thank you to you, Patricia. We really appreciate your guidance and knowledge, and I think it was great. So what do you guys think? Like, how was that for you guys? We covered a lot of on about financials and be easier for me. What were some thoughts about this session?
It was really informative. A
Yes,
lot
very.
Right?
of information.
Yeah, for
I agree
sure.
with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot jam-packed stuff, especially regarding, I'm gonna pause recording or stop recording here.